Hey everyone, I am Pat Fitzmaurice, managing editor of Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros, back with you after a couple of weeks on hiatus to run through my favorite player props for week 11. But first, if you want a chance to win a signed Josh Jacobs jersey courtesy of our friends at Pristine Auction, you need to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below on this video, and that's it. We will be announcing a winner right here on the channel, so make sure to turn on those notifications to be alerted to when new episodes are up and to know when to claim your prize. All right, here are my favorite player prop selections for week 11. Let's start with Matt Ryan under 228.5 passing yards. Reclaiming his starting role after a 2-week benching last week, Ryan threw for 222 yards, but that was against the lowly Las Vegas Raiders pass defense, which is number 32, dead last in the league in DVOA. The Colts did take a conservative offensive approach in that game under interim head coach Jeff Saturday, running the ball on 51.7% of their offensive plays. I think they're conservative again this week against the Eagles for two reasons. One, the Eagles' run defense has been slumping, and two, the Eagles' pass defense is really fierce. They are allowing just 200.1 passing yards per game. That's the third fewest in the league. And they have notched the fourth most sacks in the league, 29 so far this year. So I think the Colts are conservative again, run the ball a lot with Jonathan Taylor. And, the Eagles are allowing just 5.0 pass yards per pass attempt. So really good pass defense. I don't think Matt Ryan gets to 228 yards. Mac Jones, under 203.5 passing yards. Yeah, I like a couple of these unders in passing yardage. The Jets' pass defense has been a fearsome beast of late. When we last saw Gang Green, they were limiting Josh Allen to 205 passing yards in the Jets' 20-17 upset of the Bills in week 9. Then they went on bye, so they're coming in fresh against the Patriots. And they did play the Patriots in week 8. And in that game, they held Mac Jones to 24 of 35 passing for 194 yards. So they've already held him under 203.5 yards once. I think they're going to do it again. The Jets are giving up just 5.8 yards per pass attempt and have the league's second lowest opponent passer rating. Jones is averaging just 190 passing yards in his 6 starts this year, so he would have to get well above his season average to beat this number, and I don't think he's going to do that against one of the league's very best pass defenses. So Mac Jones under 203.5 yards. Lamar Jackson over 61.5 rushing yards. So for some reason, bye weeks seem to put a pep in Lamar Jackson's step. He has had 4 career games where he was coming off a bye, and in those 4 career games, he has run for a total of 365 yards. His rushing totals in those 4 games, 119, 61, 65, and 120. So Jackson has cleared this number in 5 of 9 games this season, and he's averaging 70.6 rushing yards per game this year. So look for him to run wild this week against the lowly Carolina Panthers. All right, I will have 5 more prop bets for you in just a moment, but first I need to tell you about the Betting Pros Pick Tracker. Want to track all your wagers in one place? Check out the Betting Pros Pick Tracker at bettingpros.com/pick-tracking. It syncs up with your sportsbook to tally which picks hit and which picks miss, and it gives you a live look at what the public is doing so you can use real-time tracking to determine which plays to make and which ones to fade. Get on the leaderboard and quickly become a sharp by using the Betting Pros Pick Tracker and everything we have to offer, all the free advice at bettingpros.com/pick-tracking. All right. Next up, Antonio Gibson over 46.5 rushing yards. One of my favorite strategies for betting player props is to find a weak defense and pick on it repeatedly. And that's what I'm doing with the Houston Texans run defense, which I have been picking on since last year. Houston had the worst run D in the league in 2021, and it has gotten no better in 2022. The Texans are giving up 156.2 rushing yards per game to opposing running backs and 5.4 yards per carry to opposing running backs. Gibson does share work with rookie Brian Robinson, but Gibson has played 52.4% of Washington's offensive snaps over the last 2 weeks. He's had double-digit carries in both of those games. And if you give the explosive Gibson double-digit carries against this Texans run defense, I am confident that he is going to run for more than 46.5 rushing yards. So Gibson over 46.5 rushing yards. I also like David Montgomery over 61.5 rushing yards. With Khalil Herbert going on injured reserve earlier this week, Montgomery is he's the sole guy in the backfield pretty much. He has that backfield to himself, except for occasional relief from 6th-round rookie Treston Ebner. But even with Herbert around, Montgomery had snap shares of 66% or higher in 7 of 9 games this year. And now with Herbert out, like Montgomery could see snap shares in the 80 to 85% range. Look for him to get at least 15 carries this week against a so-so Falcons run defense that's giving up 99.8 rushing yards per game to opposing running backs. All right, Michael Pittman under 60.5 receiving yards. And with Matt Ryan back at quarterback for the Colts last week, Pittman had 9 targets against that bad Las Vegas Raiders pass defense and only had 53 yards on 7 receptions. So Ryan's MO is just to throw to the open guy, no matter who it is. That's how he's rolled for years. And, now Paris Campbell has been coming on strong for the Colts. So the open guy in any given situation could be Pittman. It could be Paris Campbell. It could be rookie Alec Pierce. It could be one of the Colts tight ends. I don't think we can count on 8+ carries for Pittman week after week. And he is a brutal week 11 matchup. He's going against the Eagles' outside cornerback duo of Darius Slay and James Bradbury, which has been great all season except for last week when they lost to the Eagles or to the Washington Commanders, their first loss of the year, and they gave up 129 passing yards to Terry McLaurin. So Slay and Bradbury have been terrific all year. They were not terrific in week 10, and I think they're going to be ticked off about that and come out fired up and shut down this Colts passing game. So Michael Pittman under 60.5 receiving yards. I also like Brandin Cooks under 54.5 receiving yards. In fact, this is probably my favorite player prop of week 11. Cooks has cleared this number in only 2 of his last 7 games. And Cooks hasn't had more than 4 catches in a game since October 2nd, back when it was still warm out here in the upper Midwest. Cooks has also been disgruntled. He was unhappy the Texans declined to deal him before the NFL trading deadline, and he's been dealing with hip and wrist injuries. So Cooks is going to be facing a somewhat underrated Washington defense that just held the Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown to 1 catch for 7 yards in that upset victory on Monday night. So I think Cooks stays under 54.5 receiving yards. And finally, Greg Dulcich over 37.5 receiving yards. The Broncos rookie tight end has cleared this number in 3 of the 4 games he's played this season. Last week was his first miss. Dulcich only had 1 catch for 11 yards. But man, he played an 89% snap share last week, and he ran routes on 40 of Russell Wilson's 42 dropbacks. So those numbers show just how involved Dulcich is in this Denver offense. But the surface stats didn't cooperate with just the 1 catch last week. We're also probably going to see the Broncos without Jerry Jeudy this week due to an ankle injury, and I think that funnels a couple of extra targets in Dulcich's direction. I think he's going to clear 37.5 yards pretty easily. All right, so let's recap the 8 prop bets for this week. We've got Matt Ryan under 228.5 passing yards. We've got Mac Jones under 203.5 passing yards. Lamar Jackson is going to go over 61.5 rushing yards. Antonio Gibson over 46.5 rushing yards. David Montgomery over 61.5 rushing yards. Michael Pittman under 60.5 receiving yards. Brandin Cooks under 54.5 receiving yards. And Greg Dulcich over 37.5 receiving yards. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me this week. I wish you the best of luck with your Week 11 investments, and we will see you again next week. So long, everyone.